I feel like it'd be a waste of everyone's time to recreate the world that we see when we open the window. And so we've been very lucky to be able to take all these cues and give them a sense that only exists in this movie, and to create a version of the world that is purely Monster House.
I think it's one of the beauties of the motion capture technology is that if you see an artistic style that you want to explore, then you can set a movie in that style and explore it. When Gil started on the project, he had drawings of this simple suburban neighborhood that looked as tranquil as any neighborhood that you'd ever see in America. But it just had sort of a spin to it. It was just a little bit off. The colors were a little hyper-real. Everything just sort of had a little bent to it.
The Mayville we see in this town has its own sensibilities that are recognizable but feel very much like they are special to the movie. And the most important aspect of that is the look of our characters. Why would I want to recreate that human one-to-one when I could say, when I close my eyes and think of Monster House, what is the perfect version of DJ? Well, you know, Mitchell, who's playing DJ, is a really cute kid, but he's not exactly the DJ that I see when I close my eyes. The DJ I see has slightly more exaggerated features, has larger eyes, has impossibly lanky proportions. He's this human puppy with big hands, big feet, big expressive eyes. And it's been amazing to sit down with designers, with sculptors, and literally create and sculpt and chisel the ideal character.
This is our hero over here, DJ. And these are his sidekicks, Chowder and Jenny. And Constance here, she becomes the Monster House. And her husband in the back there, Nevercracker. It starts with a young man named Chris Applehans doing illustrations early on with the director.
All the characters were designed to have a little asymmetry to them, because we're not trying to do an ideal, we're trying to give a quirkiness to stuff. It's really useful as a style guide, so that when people start going in and doing individual characters, and there's some consistency and some sort of overarching guidelines as to how you're going to design stuff.
Then I do a three-dimensional replica, say a model, and these are to be scanned.
We scan that sculpture into the computer with a laser scanner, and we end up with a 3D rotation and a 3D version of this model. So once the model has its finished surfaces and some of the scratches taken out, some of the imperfections taken out, we have a team of texture painters who go through and put the first passes of skin color, blush, and freckles to show you what the final character might look like later on. But this helps us get a visualization of what's to come.
I consider myself incredibly lucky to be able to say, this is my storytelling world. It's like playing make-believe. It's a level of imagination that is only possible in this domain.
The amazing thing, and I told Gil this would never happen in his life again, is Gil made a wish list of all the actors that he wanted in Monster House. And we said, Gil, now you understand that this is your wish list and nobody gets their wish list on the movie. And to our amazement and surprise, and we also said it'll never happen again, he got everybody on his first choice.
Every single actor we asked to do this very strange process just wanted to do it instantly.
He got Steve Buscemi to play Nevercracker. He got Maggie Gyllenhaal to play the babysitter. He got Jason Lee to play Bones. He got John Heder to play the pizza freak.
Napoleon Dynamite, the Napoleon Dynamite. All my friends were so jealous, you know, because that's our favorite movie.
He got Catherine O'Hara and Fred Willard to play the parents. He got Kevin James. You know, we never thought he'd get Kevin James.
Oh, good, you are documenting this. Nice.
He got Nick Cannon.
Okay, that was very, very good. How'd I do? Oh, wonderful, very official.
I mean, it was amazing. It's that everybody that he ever wanted in this movie, he got. And then to our astonishment, he got Kathleen Turner, who is actually the House as well. And we thought there's no way that Kathleen Turner would be this game. To go into a new technology and play basically the fat lady in the circus, we said, no way, no how are you gonna get her, but go for it, and he got her.
I'm always interested in, you know, any kind of new development that comes along. But then the real hook was, he said, well, you played the sexiest animated character, now you can play the ugliest. And I said, oh, okay.
It was the easiest casting that I've seen. Every actor we went to, they all wanted to do the movie. I think everybody wanted to explore this new method of performing in a film.
It was extraordinary and unprecedented as far as I'm concerned.
We all became best of friends, all of us, during the movie. Afterwards, we'd go hang out, we'd go to like pizza places and go eat.
We all three became friends, and like we've gone out to movies together, and we've just, it's all been a lot of fun.
I love Sam and Mitchell. You know, Mitchell and I had great chemistry, and Sam is just so funny. Oh, I love them both.
It was just like a big family. It was really fun.
Hey! Hey, guys!
I was never a kid actor, you know, so most kids around their age when I meet them are pretty kind of shy, you know, but they are just like, you know, they won't shut up.
One take! One take! One take! One take!
They'd have to like, Sam and Mitchell, calm down, like they'd just be bouncing everywhere, they'd be singing in the microphones.
Baboon, he kicked a spoon, it went up to the moon, So he went and tried to find his spoon. Yeah, everyone called him a loon, 'cause he was looking for his spoon. And then he watched cartoons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you!
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen.
That was Baboon.
That was nice.
What about egg and cheese sandwich?
You know, you have like the two kind of immature boys who are just, you know, like hyper and doing everything, and then she's kind of a more grounded, sensible girl who knows like, now come on boys, calm down.
I don't know how Jenny did it. She was a bit more tolerant than I would ever be with them, you know what I mean?
We're sorry that we were being so bad today.
Awfully bad?
We were horrible today.
But locking you guys in the box made all the difference,
It
right?
really did.
Yeah.
We only got locked in the box for 4 hours today.
Sam and Mitchell, every time I saw them, they just quoted Napoleon, and so that was kind of weird.
Mocap ready!
Sam, still today, is probably my best friend. Truthfully, he's a really nice kid. He likes to skateboard, just like I like to skateboard. We skate all the time. Into girls now. Yeah, super cool kid.
38 apple, beat 1, take 3. Head marker.
Mitchell's like my best friend. I hang out with him every weekend. I see him all the time. I was actually just at his house yesterday. He's just like the nicest kid ever.
These guys off the
All right, we gotta go.
No! Stop!
We missed you already.
When it started and they said it was animation, I thought, okay, you know, it's me speaking, but whew, it's not, dude. It is not.
You wanna be a dead person? No, I love life!
In traditional animation, you're just capturing the voice performance of someone, and then animators draw that performance to the best of their ability, try to interpret what the characters are doing. In the case of performance capture, you actually get both the clean voice performance and their body performance simultaneously, and that's what drives the performance of the character.
Boom! Just shoots things up and eats them like rah, 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 rah.
I knew absolutely nothing. When I first went to wardrobe and I tried on, you know, the suits, it was crazy. You know, I still quite don't understand how they do it. It's so high tech, it's so out there, but it's really cool.
We were confused because we didn't really understand. Like, you get 70 dots glued on your face, like motion sensor dots, and like you have to wear this tight suit.
Hours of makeup, all these dots glued to your face and your hair, all this, this helmet glued to your hair, and then just this wetsuit basically. You look like a freak.
We had to get there at 7 a.m. every morning, and we had to go straight to hair and makeup. I wouldn't really call that. I would call it a dot torture room, is what I would call it. They had masks for us with holes so they would know where the dots would go, and then they would dot us and do the glue and all the dots.
At the beginning, it took about 45 minutes to an hour to get the dots glued on your face, and then by the end, it was just like 20 minutes and you're out.
Can't touch it, because if you touch it, messes up the sensor. I have to put on a new one. It was tough.
And then at the end of the day, they take it off. Sometimes it take a while to get each one of those dots off. And then they give you a nice head massage with the shampoo and conditioner. And man, that felt good. That was my favorite part, because you've had this nasty glue. And then even throughout the rest of the day, I'd find little hair boogers just hanging out. It was glue, so it was kind of fun.
It was pretty intense. I loved every minute of it, though.
The technical process of capturing performances in this empty void is a challenge to anyone.
Your foot gets caught on this piece of mud and grass, and you just pull this grass across, and you realize as soon as you've done it that you've done something really, really awful. Shake off whatever is left on it. Up in the air, exactly. So the little piece is going to drop off. Look up at him.
What have you done?
Sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
You are dead!
Great.
It was a little disconcerting doing it because I'm just not used to working that way, and I think so much of what I do as an actor is, I get so much from wardrobe and props, and here everybody wore the same thing, and there were no real sets. There were, sort of skeleton sets and skeleton props.
These are our sets and props. Our props are made of wireframe and mesh and just metal poles. And the reason for that is so we can actually see through them, because the motion capture cameras need to see the actors' markers from multiple angles. So we can't have solid props and walls in the environment. We actually need to be able to see through everything.
This is a super soaker. This is a motion capture super soaker. And they have actually weights in them to give them actual weight and all that. And then also what the prop makers did, which was very clever, was they had one weight kind of loose. So it kind of flops around and it makes us feel like it's got water in it. All the artifacts, all the props in the movie are made like this, but the reason it's made out of wire is so that the dots on their bodies can be seen by the cameras around them.
You don't have a real arcade game in front of you. You have a wire game. You aren't looking at three, kind of normal looking kids. You're looking at three freaks, with dots all over the face. And you feel like one of those freaks. You're just in this cold, metallic room with this wetsuit on and all these dots, and you just don't feel like you're at a pizza joint as some fat slob, who's got like snot running down his, chin. So there's a certain, difficulty in getting into character in that way. So that was probably one of the hardest parts.
You really had to use your imagination full time.
T-pose, please.
I remember T-pose.
T-pose.
T-pose. T-pose, please. T-pose, everyone.
When they start to roll, right before you start action and right after they yell cut, you always have to get into T-pose, where you stand there and you have your arms spread out. Once again, it's all for reference so that they know, okay, they can map it out much better. They'd say cut, oh, I didn't know. They're like T-pose, T-pose.
T-pose, T-pose, T-pose.
T-pose, oh, I'm sorry.
T-pose is a way of aligning the character to the actor. So he stands like this.
Put it on there.
So it's a way of just, we align the character in 3D with the way he's standing at the start. And then once the two things have been aligned, then they move together as one after that. T-pose, please. Face relaxed, eyes closed. That is a cut. Thank you.
It was just a little weird at first, but I was surprised at how fast I got used to it.
It was really hard for us and it felt weird, but then by the end we were just in our suits and we were about to leave and go home wearing our suits. It was just a natural part of life.
I think that doing performance capture is a very freeing process because it's much more like theater. Once you put these dots on your face and you, after a short time, forget about them, you don't have the presence of a camera, you have no lights, you're not strapped down by having to hit marks, there's no rhythm being broken by having to change the film and the camera. Once the actors hit the floor in performance capture, they get to just perform scenes without worrying about any technicalities that usually bear down on the filmmaking process.
Hi, I'm Jay Redd, the Senior Visual Effects Supervisor on Monster House. I want to welcome you to Sony Pictures ImageWorks. We're going to take you around to show you a bit about what we do here and a little bit of the process in bringing all of our characters and our performances to life in the final film.
So, you hate Mexican food, huh?
Yeah. You too, huh?
Yeah, in fact, you might say I started hating it first.
What we do is we take the data that's captured on the stage of the performers walking around, acting, doing the movie, and take that digitized information and create animation out of it. Right here we have video from the stage. The stage is set up with 200 motion capture cameras. The actors have 80 markers on their bodies and 72 markers on their faces to track all the performance of their hands, their face, every nuance of their blinks and smiles. In the video here, you can actually see in the background, these are our motion capture cameras. What happens is the cameras see the marker, and what gets digitized is only the markers. We don't see the color of the person's suit, we don't see their makeup, their hair, anything else. We just see the markers, which gives us the motion. It gives us how the person's moving and what they're doing. When we take that data from all 200 cameras, we bring it into a computer and create the 3D animation. We do that for all the body markers, and separately we do it for the face markers too. And again, this is 3D information where we can rotate around this in any way. We can see it from any angle. We can see it from inside the person's head. At the very end of our process, we take the marker cloud that is all clean, has no gaps, and actually apply a skeleton to it. So this is starting to create an actual relationship between those markers, similar to a human skeleton, where there's bones that have relationships. The next department will actually take those bones and actually put the skin on top of them for the characters.
As an integrator, we have already received our information from tracking, which is all of the dots, as you could see, moving in space. And another goal that we have in integration is to make sure that the performance that was captured works with the props as well as the environment. In this performance, it's Chowder and DJ, which are our two hero characters, and they're getting into a little scuffle in the bedroom. So right now, we've only got marker data, but what we do with the marker data is we then apply this to the skeletons of our characters in 3D space. And when we have all of that retargeted, it looks something like this. The next step would be to see what it looks like on the actual geometry. You can see we have them moving exactly as the skeleton does. And one of our main goals is also to make sure that the performance that was captured is maintained as best as possible onto these characters. We don't want to lose any of the actual talent's performance. The next step would be to place these characters in their environment. So this is the entire stage for our movie. In specific, this is actually going into the bedroom of DJ's house. And this is where we place our characters in our set, and we see how they're working with the environment. Some things that we do have to take into account with the different character proportions, it may change the way that they interact with parts of the set, such as right here, you can see that DJ, his hands are actually not really on the table. And Chowder, he's actually going through the bed a little bit. So another thing we do in integration is clean these things out to make sure that it is exactly as it should be, and again, maintaining that performance.
So out of integration comes a combined set, a performance, a body, a skeleton, and the interactive props. That all comes together and then is sent onto what we call director's layout, which is the director working with a DP and setting virtual cameras, and that's oftentimes based on storyboards and combined with the performance from the motion capture stage. From there, once the camera's chosen, it's put into what we call the wheels room, or the wheels process. Well, here we're in the wheels room. We'll call it the Monster House wheels room. We've got a lot of different tools that the director and the DP can use to help compose our shots and add the kind of the final human touch. So, Brian, tell us what kind of lens we have here.
Right now we've got a 35mm lens. We can dial in any lens we want from 0 to infinity.
So once the lens is set, now you can see here as I'm controlling with the wheels, we have tilt controls moving up and down. We have pan controls here. So what's amazing about this process is it behaves just like a traditional film camera would, but it's feeding directly into the computer with our performance capture running over and over and over again in real time. To get even more dynamics and more of a handheld look, we actually have a handheld system that translates all of your motion right directly from your hand and wrist right to the camera. Traditionally, in CG features and computer-generated films, the camera moves are very perfect and programmed and have this perfection that doesn't feel so natural. And the point behind Monster House is that we're making our characters look very natural, feel like they're handmade. We want to have the same feeling in our camera work. So if we wanted to get something really dynamic, this handheld device adds a really wonderful organic element to our moves. So using all these different kind of tools where we have the wheels head, we have virtual dolly tracks, and handheld devices, bringing all of these things together and using them in different combinations allow the filmmakers to create a very human-feeling, handmade look to each shot that they're doing. And across the whole film, the whole goal is to walk away with something that you've been immersed into that doesn't have all the elements of computers and perfection that you might see in other CG features.
You can't call dibs on a girl through a telescope. Well, you can't call dibs on a girl. Just did. Me too.
There's this one place in the neighborhood that you as a child are afraid to go by.
There's something going on at that house.
There was these rumors that kids who would walk by the house would suddenly vanish.
Come back, please!
We've taken that very sense of the scary house and actually given it life.
How do you create a voice of a house?
To make it real, we had to find a way to give this house a sound.
You start by thinking of the house as a living creature.
If those are the teeth and that's the tongue, then that must be the uvula. Oh, so it's a girl house.
Everything has to be organic. It's a real neighborhood in which very unusual things happen.
What are you two weirdos up to?
Just something in the house across the street just tried to eat us.
We've gone out and actually lined the interior of a house with microphones and then tore the house down.
I had microphones mounted in a window, and I looked up, and the claws of the bulldozer were right over me.
We could actually hear what it sounds like when its roof crushes down on itself, where its windows get yanked out.
If you can find enough of those kinds of pieces and then combine those with a human voice, you really get the impression that you're hearing the house talk.
We have a ping pong table in our basement.
Gil went to New York to do a recording session with Kathleen Turner where he actually had her watching the movie and performing sounds in sync with the movie.
You've been a bad girl, haven't you?
We had the idea to take a lot of these recordings and play them back in a real space.
The sound designers are going out and they're finding barns, getting that live house sound.
A barn is a loose enough structure so that it's going to rattle when you play a loud sound in it.
And so all the sound that's created inside the barn becomes kind of amplified and swirls around and gets distorted.
You hear that? Yep, that's my stomach. I'm starving.
It's a monster movie where the monster is the house.
The house is alive!
Anyone knows house is a living, breathing thing. We're finally exposing these houses for what they really are. They're absolute monsters.
No question about it.